For those of you that may not know me, I'm Pam Marcenaro, and I'm the director of the EOF program here on campus. And I am also part of the learning community of the College Student Success course. As a side thing, this course right now is part of my own personal research that I'm working on as I'm pursuing my doctorate. So I'm really involved in a lot of the work that's going on in sort of like the macro level of what the course is. And I'll let Professor Schorr introduce himself.
So I'm Professor Schorr, Languages and ESL, and I'm the program specialist, or course coordinator, whatever works best. I put together the College Student Success program, and rework it, keep up with curriculum, and make sure that it's continuing to meet the needs of our students as best we can.
That's right. And you know, we do have here Dean Smith, who is actually the mastermind that really got this whole thing together.
Professor.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Look at this, you know, force of habit. So former Dean Smith, who was really, at the time that he was dean, he was really the instrumental in getting the ball rolling with College Student Success. So, so it's great to have him here. Okay, so this is sort of an overview of what we're going to be presenting today. So I'm going to get started talking a little bit about what's going on with college success, what does it look like out there right now in our colleges, and kind of where CCM sort of stands in the grand spectrum of college student success courses nationally. All right, Brian. So I wanted to put this out for you. Yesterday, if some of you were at the panel that talked about best practices of student success, you all probably heard a lot of different things, right? This is utopia. This is what we see in our classes every single day, what we hope that our classes will look like. The reality is it's not. And there is a huge reason behind it. And it's not in any way we're not here to attack our students, we're not here, but there are important things that need to be pointed out because this right now is not happening, so the institutions really have to work extremely hard to get these students from point A to point B. Okay? So to give you sort of a general overview of kind of like the macro level of what's going on with college success, right? There is the expectation that first-year students have to know how to navigate college. You know, whatever you're considered, and this is all technical terms, you're college ready. You should be moving forward. You should be sort of being able to adjust to this post-secondary environment. All in all, it isn't happening, and that's sort of a general reality, both at 2- and 4-year institutions, by the way. The issue is that at our 4-year institutions, obviously that it's a little bit less. The students come in, we have open access at community colleges, so we are certainly faced with a very diverse student population. So what happens here is that our students are literally now, 40% of them drop out during their first year of college. So think about that. That's a huge 2-year students. It's a big deal. I mean, you're talking about when actually close to 40% of all post-secondary students in the United States are from community colleges. So we take a huge chunk of the higher education population in the entire United States. And then our students are dropping off in a year for a variety of reasons. This is, it's personal, it's economic, there's so discouragement. I mean, there's a whole slew of levels of what's going on. So what happened is that because our students attend community colleges, then it is the conversation, well, why do you need college success courses? College success courses, they're a topic of conversation. These courses have now been around since the 1970s for the reason that the issues of college transitions have been a problem. I mean, there is an actual national research center in the University of South Carolina that specializes on national research of all community colleges and 2- and 4-year institutions on college success courses and the first year experience, as they call it, for students. So there is tons of what they would say, many people question, well, what's their value? Is there a need for them? Why do students need to be taking these courses? And the truth is that there is a need because students have issues with academic integration, with social integration, with, there's so many different things going on in their lives that there has to be something to help them out in this process of transition. So that's where these courses really, really come in. Okay? So what are some of like the things that are happening, right? So this is what our students are dealing with. Our students are lacking social and academic skills for a variety of reasons. We're talking about coming in from diverse school districts that really prepare some and that under-prepare some. So then you're battling that. You're also battling social issues, okay, where your students are coming in, in our community colleges. The largest population that is in our colleges is first-generation college students. First-generation students are the first ones in their families to go to college. That means that these students have no knowledge, understanding of the college process, expectations, anything of it. I'm telling you, the most basic things as to where to drop off an admissions application to some of these students, they have to be told. And at the high schools, they're not doing that because they're just so overwhelmed with the amount of cases of students that they're seeing on a regular basis. So this is a major issue. So what happens is this first year is huge, and this is where, it's sort of like a huge, massive joint effort between colleges, administrators, faculty, and everything, because it's like what that whole saying, as cliche as it sounds, it takes a village to raise a child. It really takes an entire college to get a student through that first year. And the research shows that a student that doesn't make it past their first year will not persist. It's just, that's the bottom line. So if in your classrooms, you are looking at these new students sitting in your classrooms every fall, understand that there is a huge percentage of them that will not come back because they don't have the necessary coping skills to make it through college during that first year. And it is sometimes at no fault of their own, but it's the lives that they live. It is the complexity of the population that is walking through this campus. In one single student that's sitting in your classes, you can have a first generation, a student of color, a student with disabilities, and an underprepared student. That's all in one. So think about that. Think about how much support a student is going to need to just get themselves. So the College Success course is very helpful in making this transition to these students. And it's actually the most utilized form and tool that colleges use it at 2 and 4 years to move students through that first year hurdle. And that's really what CSS at CCM does. I mean, you have close to like 90% of colleges in the United States, they offer an iteration of college success courses. Now, these vary greatly. They vary from aspects of credits. Some of these college success courses are 1 credit, 2 credit courses. They are graduation requirements. Some of them are more focused maybe in certain majors. Other ones are more type of orientation courses. Some are more academic based. So it depends. Our course, which Brian and Shelley will discuss, has a very strong academic component. So we are actually pretty in line with some of the different variations of college success courses, and ours is actually pretty robust in comparison to many others out there.
I just want to point out that when you look at community colleges in New Jersey, they're 19, 16 of them have this.
Yes.
Most of them require it for all students. Mm-hmm. So we are behind the ball when it comes to our competitors in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, CCM actually, we've brought in college student success in the last 3-4 years, right, Keith? Yeah. Say, yeah. So, just so that you know, some of our nearby colleges have been teaching college student success for 10 years now. So we've had some iterations of this course in other variables. We had becoming a master's student, but these were never required courses. There was really not a structured college student success course in the level that CSS is at today. So, okay?
Pam?
Yes.
I think the group should know that the course that we offer here is a non-credit 2.
That's correct,
Yeah,
yes.
we're gonna go over that, yeah.
And also that, well, that was,
We'll go into the history of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. But so you can kind of get an idea of what are the benefits of these courses. They're going to be providing your students with just very basic techniques on how to study better, how to manage their time, how to communicate with a professor, how to just be a college student, and what are the expectations, as basic as these may sound. These are, again, things that the students are lacking. The other thing is that it helps our students develop a connection with the institution. What that means is there is a strong body of research that indicates student engagement will always translate into, improved GPAs, connections with the college, retention, all kinds of different things that it can impact the student. If a student is not connected to their college and they have no type of ties to it, the student has no interest to persist. So this is where the problem lies with these courses, is that they will try to help alleviate that a little bit. And again, this course is not like the lifesaver of every single student, but it is a great foundation to kind of help the student take off, as they progress. And honestly, and also the other really important part of a college success course is it really breaks the silo effect in many institutions. And what I mean by that is that this is not an effort of one person or one division. This is a college-wide effort. Administrators, faculty from different areas, a lot of people are teaching college student success. And that is here at CCM, and that is out in other institutions. And I will share with you later on a little bit of what the research is saying here at CCM with the college success course so far today. And we will be talking a lot more about the structure, and Shelley will be discussing that as well. So.
Yep. So I've actually been involved with the CSS course development since the beginning. So I said about 4 years, including one semester, actually a semester of pilot. So what we had is very research based. A lot of the things that Pam had already discussed we took under consideration. So the way it was very highly collaborative. The way it was Dr. Dwight Smith, he was the one that headed up with Keith at one of the meetings that we had four plus years ago. And the way it was a discussion with various departments. Myself, I was included in discussion along with, at that point we had Director of CTE, Kim Smith was in there. So there were a lot of discussions on how we are going to address the need for this kind of course. So the way we left it was, Dwight left it very flexible and left it to the discretion of the department chairs of how they want to do it. So certain departments decided they were going to be included in one of their introductory classes or their survey classes. So that was certain departments did that, and what I was tasked to do is I worked with the director of CTE along with one of the math professors to develop this generalized curriculum for CSS that is currently in that we're using. Let me see. I have actually, by this point, I have had this would have been my third course in designing this kind of course. I had previously worked for another college, and I also do I helped with another four-year institution develop this kind of course. So I have some experience in terms of with the research and also what other institutions are including in their format. So what we did was the initial draft of the course was completed with the three of us, and we actually invited the various community members to be part of it. We invited Betty to be to kind of we kind of extended out to, because again it's a CSS, it's really much more of a holistic approach, and we want to make sure we included the individuals that need to be included so they could give us feedback on what content needs to be in there. So that's why we have Betty was there, we had Jill Wells, who was the director of advising, we had Carrie, who is the transfer counselor, we had Pam, who was part of the conversation, and at the very end we also had a discussion with Dr. Eberg, who was the chairperson of English. So we, as you can tell, we had a very holistic approach to all of this. And after that, we had piloted the first semester, and it was James Hart, Professor James Hart, who taught the course, gave us quite a bit of feedback. We did some revisions to the course. And then we approached the curriculum committee. And at the curriculum committee, what it was, at that point, it wasn't housed anywhere. It kind of was just there. Keith took it over, put it under liberal arts, and so one of the recommendations of the curriculum is it needed to be housed in a department. So Professor Hart agreed that they would put it under languages, and that's where it is right now, and that's what Brian is the coordinator right now with that. Okay. Okay, so again, the considerations, a lot of it was conversation, what the study that Pam had already shared with you. And I don't know if any of you were at the best practices for our student success yesterday. A lot of the best practices that the panel discussed is actually very much mirrored in the course as well. And because we wanted to prepare the students for distance learning, our students' expectation of distance learning, especially for online, does not necessarily match with what actually occurs. So what we decided was to be a hybrid format. But it's an interesting hybrid format. Most of our courses are 8 weeks long, so 2 weeks of it is fully online. So they don't meet the faculty member at all, and then what we do is, but in lab, we kind of start training them, okay, this is how you go to Blackboard, this is your, how do you go to discussions, what are some expectations. So we do teach them that in the beginning, and then they're ready to go into the fully online. I think it's in week 3 and week 6.
Yeah, we can jump in. The second class, the
Yeah.
first class, hey, here's the syllabus. Let's talk about what a syllabus is, because how many of you guys just want to it's in the syllabus. I already told you it. So that's like, that's first class. The second class, the very second time we meet them, it's in the computer lab. And we, as much as I hate doing it, hold hands and baby step these students through Blackboard, through WebAdvisor, through CCM email. We go through every single possible drop down. Let's click it, let's see what it does, and we verify in class that every student that comes through CSS, they will not pass CSS if they cannot use Blackboard. If they cannot submit assignments, if they cannot navigate through learning modules, that is second class. And then we send them on their way, we got 2 weeks, here's a ton of work, let's see what you do, and I remind the students, everything you do is time stamped. We know when you do it, we know how long you spend on it. That's an integral part of this course, because, just jumping in really quickly, from the Academic Standards Committee, they're looking at the fact that our online student outcomes are far lower than it should be. And for those of you, how many teach online or hybrid courses? Would you say your completion rate or your failure rate is higher or lower for online classes?
It's higher in Spanish 1 and about the same in Spanish 2.
It's actually really impressive.
That's really good, yeah, that's not typical, but it's good. So, and I want to address something that the student panel member had discussed at yesterday's meeting, where she said that she had trouble going through Blackboard. And I do want to address that a lot of times, because this is going to be one of the first courses that they're going to experience with Blackboard. And this is a very comprehensive use of Blackboard. We use multiple tools in Blackboard because we have that 2 fully online component. So yes, do not be surprised if your students may say, well, this is a little bit hard to get through, but that's why they spend the time in the lab with that. And we do try to, and there's also a comfort level with the faculty members. We're very selective in the faculty members. However, that's more of their pedagogy approach, their teaching styles. We do train them in Blackboard. However, their comfort level with Blackboard is going to vary. Some are extremely comfortable, others are not quite. So that may be part of the discretion, that we have with that. We also, yesterday again, there was a mention of test of online learning success. That is required in CSS. That's part of their assignment. The students have to go through it and just kind of see where they are. It's like, where are some of your strengths? Are you ready for the online courses? But again, that's available through Sherry's distance learning. The link is there, and we invite anyone, all the students, you should take it on your own. I did. So just to kind of see what it is. And that is actually a research-based tool as well. Okay, so really quick, so these are the different links that we have. Majority of it is the 8-week that we offer. The 3, 4, 5 weeks are within during the summer, so previous to them coming in. Majority of courses are in the fall, which makes sense to be in the fall. And some of the course content, it's academic in nature in terms of what we expect from the students. And we'll go into the content a little bit later, but not. And some people, not in the traditional sense of your contents, with your content specific stuff. But it's a very broad base of, we do ask the students to write. We have reflective journals, and that's critical because a majority focus of this class is for the student to be self-reflective. It's to let them know to be self-aware and what their responsibilities are, what their accountability are. So reflective journals are a critical piece to that. We were also asked not to have research papers in this class, so that's why you will not see research papers in this. So most of it is reflective journals. And then Brian will go into some of the other pieces that we were asked not to address in this class. And again, so they're distinct topics. Again, time management is key. We do address career, so we do ask them to do their career assessment. And then one of the assignments is say, okay, so this is what you want to do career. So what are some of your strengths? What do you have to do? So again, the self-awareness and being aware of what their responsibilities are as a student as they go through CCM.
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the data. So what are the numbers saying? What we've so far been able to acquire 2 forms of data for CSS. We have the quantitative based data and also qualitative. I did a study on the course actually last year in the fall. So I did get actual feedback from the students, interviews, and we went through a whole process. So in general, what the college success courses, what the data says, right, is that these there's a lot of variables. And when you're reading a lot of the research on college success courses, there's many different things that the course does for different institutions. So some schools will tell you that college success courses have helped them improve their GPAs. Other ones say GPA and retention. Some say GPA remains the same, but retention was better, so they were able to sustain. Students graduated at a higher rate. Other ones say the students are more engaged. So there are a lot of variables, but the bottom line is that the research really does show that these courses, both on the quantitative and qualitative end, that they do help in persistence. And that is sort of kind of like across the board. And I'm talking, this is like being published, from Tinto to Pasquarella Terendini to Ku to everybody under the sun that has researched these courses agree on that particular aspect of it, that there is an improvement of persistence. So at CCM, actually, what we've seen for the past 2 years, and if the sheet that I gave you, if you turn it over in the first page, from the back of the first page, you're going to be seeing in there, that'll give you sort of the specifics of the numbers. So what we did is in the quantitative piece of it, we really looked at the populations that are currently taking college student success so that we can make the best comparable to the groups. So we have, the students that are required to take CSS are those, and they'll speak a little bit more about it, but students that are in the liberal arts division majors, that they have to take remedial English, probationary students in the EOF program. I make CSS a requirement for my students. So they all have to take the course. So because this is a course that helps with the transitional piece. So what we're seeing so far today with the groups in comparison, kind of trying to do apples to apples, is that CSS is showing higher retention rates. That first year that we ran it fully, the retention rates were higher, 10% higher for CSS students that took the course. The second year that we did it, it's showing that about a 12% higher retention rate for the students within the same populations. Another very important thing that we've noticed with college student success, the course is helping a more successful rate of students make it through online courses. So that part of it, so from a numbers perspective, the course is doing what the research says the course is supposed to do. It is helping out with the retention of students. Now moving it to the qualitative piece of it. So the study that I did on a few students, I interviewed them, I asked a lot of questions. I ran everything. I went through the full process of coding interviews and doing all of this. And in the end, there were major thematics that came out of this. The students were more engaged. These students, all of them, were taking their studies more seriously. They learned very basic strategies about time management, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that I remember the students telling me, that they can ask their professors for help, that yes, they're terrified, like what the panel was saying yesterday on the student success, the students are terrified of asking professors for help. They're actually much more comfortable doing group work, and I remember there were, and even a student that didn't necessarily care much for college success as a whole, as the course, because when you're interviewing them, not everything is peachy. You're gonna have some that like it and not. Even the one that didn't like the course still found value to it. And I share this with my colleagues. He went on to say to me, I was like, one of the biggest things that I learned in the course was I learned to say no. And I thought that was pretty powerful, because this student started very weak academically, and what he learned from CSS was that he could actually tell his friend, you know what, I have homework to do. I'll check in with you later. He actually said that to me in the interview. He's like, that's what I told him. I said, listen, I'll check in with you later. I got things to do right now for school. Other students said to me, I actually organize my stuff. She said, I'm putting it on a planner now. I didn't do that before, I didn't even know. And they shared with me, they said, they don't teach us any of this in high school. We have no idea. My student was like, I had no idea that I could organize things, that I can actually talk to my professors via email. This is basic stuff, and the students are telling me all of this in their interviews. They're saying it just didn't happen. So I didn't know how to communicate with the professor, and they gave me a lot of confidence. I got a lot of that. I got a lot of confidence. The course gave me a lot of confidence. Also helped me with online classes. Some students, they found the online piece very difficult, and then they've said it, but the course still helped them to understand a little bit better the functionalities of Blackboard. So in all, CSS really did do some really important things. And honestly, as a side note, anecdotal, the students that were interviewed, just so you know, every single one of them is graduating. Two of them, a few graduate this spring, one graduates in the summer, another one graduates in the fall. All GPAs were maintained or were improved for all of these students, because I've been checking up on them through I go in and take a look, because I want to know what's going on. So what I'm telling you is that somewhere, if there was a piece of something, the course does have some form of impact, helping the students, whatever this is for them. It means something in different ways. So.
All right, so I'll jump in as a professor teaching the course, and what does it look like, what do we do, and how do we work through it. So first of all, of course, which students take CSS? And right now, the requirement is liberal arts students who test into ENG 025 are now required to take CSS. We needed something to link it to, right? It's not just all right, y'all take it. We needed something. It's some considered arbitrary, but we had to have some link. So that is our basic link. We have many students who are not required to take it, but take it anyway. I say about 50% of the students I see were required to take it and they're there. The other half are there because they needed it, they wanted it. An academic advisor recommended it to them. And we've got students from across the board. Every major, every division, I see them. They're coming through. Disability Services recommends CSS. Back when it was Case Horizons, they required it. They no longer require it, but they recommend it. And I've got a lot of parents and guidance counselors calling me and saying, I've got a student, possibly some learning disabilities. I'm not going to hit button for it, but I won't go into details. But I've got students, I'm not sure they have all the skills for college. And I say, no one's sure that they have all the skills for college. And they say, do you think CSS is great? And I said, oh, of course I think it's great, but this is exactly what it's here to do, is to help you bridge that gap. We've got students by lottery of birth. All right, this is where you're born, these are the schools you're going to. Maybe you got a good school, you're prepared. Maybe you don't, you're not prepared. And they all come here. And we need something to balance that out. And CSS really does that. Now, it's very heavily based on first year experience, but project success students and other students who have some academic difficulty also take CSS to help them kind of jump over any hurdles. So while CSS is heavily based on first year experience, we do blend and mold the course to meet the needs of the students that show up. Next slide, please. Who is taught at CSS? Who has taught the class? Well, everybody. I've gotten lists from deans and from chairs of professors that are recommended. Almost all the professors come recommended. It's based on recommendations from their supervisors, and then I get a name, and I go and say, hey, you think you should teach, you could teach CSS? A few people I know that I will vouch for. And it's a thorough interview. You have to swear up and down and be evaluated that you have Blackboard skills. Because you're teaching this. If you're not a whiz at Blackboard, sorry. It's not, this is not the course for you.
They do have to go through training
Yes.
with me because of it being a hybrid in nature, so they do have to go through training.
We look for professors who have already taught hybrid courses, but we do provide that training. And we've hit every major, every division, most departments, and we also reach out to the support services. Because I think it's really awesome that we've got research assistants and school counselors and transfer coordinators. All these people are helping teach this course. They're all highly qualified. And I've gone over all their resumes. They're all entrenched in education and want the best for our students. And really show our students that it's not just the professors that are here to help you. It's a whole community, right? Next slide, please. So, well, what are we teaching? These are the learning outcomes. Right? If they complete the course, and not all students complete the course, there's a failure rate. I find it to be about 15 to 20%, which is about the same as what I find for most of my other classes. A lot of students, especially first-year students, will drop out. They'll disappear. Set a retention alert, never hear from them again. But the ones that do complete it, well, they're understanding academic expectations. They know what we expect of them. It's not just come to class, take your test. Right? You can do that. You can get grades. But this is college, take advantage of the opportunities here. We expect you to go to your professor for help. We expect you to go to the writing center. We expect you to be able to determine your own grade during the semester. And stop bugging your professor, how am I doing? How am I doing? You can do math, you can figure it out. It's on the syllabus, right? We look at goals. Is your major in line with your career goals? How can we help you achieve your career goals? Are you here at CCM to move on to a 4-year school? Are you here at CCM for a career? Are you here at CCM for a certificate? That's going to change your outcome. Right? When we talk about like academic advisement, these are things you need to know walking into advisement. Right? We have a whole unit on career and goal setting, and then we look at learning strategies. How can you study, read, learn to best meet your needs and your own personal attributes? We look at support services. And one of the things I'm doing right now is analyzing the outcome-based assessment and finding that one of the things students are really learning about is all these different rooms in the college that they never knew about. You know, when students come, I need a job, what do I do? How about career services? How about an entire facility designed to help you, right? And all the things they offer. Career service comes in and teaches sometimes at CSS. And one of the big projects is that students do group presentations on different college services. And you'd be surprised how many students go through the school having no idea of all the different things we offer.
It's a very interactive project. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been interviewed for for students, that want to know about EOF. Non-EOF students too, which is great because it serves us as a recruitment tool. So I'm like, that's great. But yeah, the students get really involved. I mean, they're asking good questions. Like they come in, like, what do you do? How do you help students? You know, so it's a really great interactive exercise that I enjoy it. Every time they come in, we make the appointment, and they're always making appointments. They're very prompt. They show up on time. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could do just little things like, oh, there's a student discount card? Yeah, of course there's a student discount card. You've never been to campus services and talked to them and found out all the advantages, just like DVD rentals and trips, right? It's advertised online, but students don't know to go there. Big part of CSS is learning to take advantage of all we offer here. Right? And of course, as we talked about, we really delve into hybrid, face-to-face, the different dynamics, and different educational expectations and things that can happen. And I'll tell you, and I tell my students, I'm gonna mess with you guys. I love messing with my students because I see CSS, the goal is to prepare them for the different contingencies. So I will change rooms without notice and leave a change of room notice. Send them an email, oh, we're in the lab today. You didn't check your student email? You have to check your student email every single day. Now you learn, right? Things like that, students need to know, okay? And all of those fall under expectations of students, which some students are more aware than others. Next slide, please. So getting further into the content. All right, how do we teach these things? Right, what is it? Well, we have a variety of methods. We have a look at the dynamics, and we go through them. We look at PowerPoints, we look at different examples of what schools look for. We look at different study techniques, and we look at different note-taking techniques. And the students, and we tell them, listen, here are different things. Some will work, some won't. If you want peer-reviewed literature on what flashcard techniques work best, by God, I have it. And I'll tell you all about flashcard techniques. But, you know, no one thinks about that. We do, we have it, and we're here to help. Next slide, please. Kind of broke it down into life skills, academic skills, non-cognitive abilities. Right? These are essential things. You're not going to succeed in life without these. Unfortunately, there is no way to test these things. Bill Gates dropped millions of dollars, right, because he's been really involved in student testing. He could not find a way to test these skills. The Department of Defense has spent millions of dollars trying to add to the ASVABs, the military testing, these skills. They couldn't do it. People say, why did you link it to ENGO-25? Because there's no test. There's no time management test I can give you. And as cool as it would be to sit each student down and give them like the marshmallow test, to kind of see their delayed response, instant gratification, we can't do that, right? So these are the life skills we look at, and these are the life skills we teach. And we move through them. We have students evaluate through reflective journals their own understanding of time management, their own understanding of diversity, their understanding of EQ. A lot of students have never heard of EQ before. And then we look at, okay, well, what are your biases? Where do you reach cognitive dissonance? Right? And how is that going to affect your studies? Right? Next slide, please. And then we go into the academic skills. Students always want to jump into the academic skills, right? They come in that first day, all right, teach me how to take notes. I can't. I can't teach you how to take notes until first I've taught you when to take notes, where to take notes. Stop using your bed to study. You're going to fall asleep, right? Sometimes it's little things, right? So this comes at the end of the semester after they've already examined and evaluated their labs. And then we look at, okay, how do you study? How do you think critically? Academic reading is very, very different than pleasure reading, right? And I love that picture. Because so many students will come and say, no one ever taught me how to study. I never actually thought about how to study. Like maybe I would read the chapter again, maybe. Well, there's a lot of different ways to study. And there's some simple, quick and dirty tips and tricks that we can share, but good studying is a skill you build. Right? So we delve into that. Right? And I'll show you kind of a sample lesson on time management. Now, there are a lot of professors that teach CSS, and we have a Blackboard shell with PowerPoints that the professors are free to use or not use to tailor to their own methods. This is how I tailored it, because obviously I like little pictures and cartoons. Catches the students' attention. So when the students come in, okay, we open up Blackboard, we open up our learning module. Today's lesson is time management, and here's my PowerPoint. I'm going to go through it, and I'll teach you things on time management. I reference Timothy Ferriss a lot. He's kind of like the guru of time management, if you're familiar. And one of the things, one of his big quotes is that there's no such thing as not enough time, only not enough priorities. That's my PowerPoint. I'm going to talk about if you don't have enough time, it's because you don't have the right priorities in your life. So we go through a whole PowerPoint, and we have discussions about time management. What does it mean? How do you manage your time? What do you do with it? What's your morning routine like? I ask every student, what do you have for breakfast? How long did it take? What, that's something you never thought about? Well, that's something you have to think about. Right? You got to get to class on time. And then their homework is a time log, because you can't do anything without data. Oh, they hate this. They do not like this assignment. I'll be direct, but they do it because it's required, and they keep a time log. And at the end of the week, when they turn in their time log and they look at it, they're always like, whoa, I had no idea I spent that much time playing video games. Or, wow, I don't get enough sleep. Or look, there are areas I can study. I had a student a couple years ago. She did this for the first time. It changed her life. She says she still to this day keeps a time log of her time, and she is graduating a semester early, right? Because she said, I can now analyze what I was doing. When my friends say, oh, you were here, I said, no, I wasn't. Mom says, you were out late. No, I wasn't. I got a time log. I was studying. I can show you where I was, right? We need data. We need to look at our lives. We need to reflect upon what we're doing, how we do it, to change our behaviors to get the academic results we want. Now, in Blackboard, there is a CSS learning community where I have additional resources for the students and for the professors. So, for this unit on time management, there's a nice video from Penguin professors. Let other teachers, other professors show how they teach time management, right? So it's not just my voice. There is an article on life hacks, right? How can you shave off 10 to 15 minutes of your day? Easy things. There is a nice podcast about time management, right? So there's all these additional resources for all the topics we have. So any professor that's teaching this has an abundance of resources, and they can tailor each lesson for each class to meet the way they like to teach, to meet the students that they have that semester. And we really, really love that flexibility. We trust teachers to teach, and we know that they know their stuff. When they're done with the unit, and they've done their time log, they write a reflective journal. That's the heart of the assignments.
This is straight quoting from the students, so if there's any typos.
We were also asked, the instructors were asked not to correct grammar, and just to really let the students go.
Yeah, so this is just kind of.
As much as it pains me as a grammar professor, this is one student's reflection on time management.
And this, what he's showing here, and these are completely different students than the ones that I studied, it matches. It's exactly the same type of things that I heard over and over again from my interviews that I did with the students in a variety of ways. But it's pretty consistent. I mean, the epiphany that these students have about managing their time and being able to figure it out, you know, and then sort of move with it is really profound. At least for them it is, and they say it, you know, and it comes through in their journals too. So.
This is a final reflective journal. Pretty much every student, I'd say about 80 to 85%, love the data. 80 to 85% of my students all have pretty much the exact same reflective journal. They all say the same. They say, at first, I thought this class was stupid. In the beginning, I didn't want to take it. I was annoyed that it was required. That's pretty universal, right? Because they just hear, oh, it's a study class. I don't need another study class. But then they say, you know what? I learned a lot. This class taught me many skills that I will harness through my years at CCM. My critical thinking, test-taking methods. Q. All of it's here. I have a midterm tomorrow. I plan to use these skills to help my chances of success. I had a nursing student, he came to me and was like, I'm going crazy, I'm falling behind, right? And I'm really in trouble. I sat down with him, we looked over some of the stuff at CSS. A week later, he comes back to me, I got an 80 for the first time on my quiz, right? After just a few meetings, because I do work specifically with the nursing department, students are seeing immediate jumps in grades, just with short bits of CSS. If we had the time to integrate full courses, you know, like our success will compound upon itself. But we need time, we need freedom in the curriculum, and our students already take a lot. And that's something we're working on. And this is,
This
yep.
is the list.
Same thing, another student, exact same problem, exact same issue. I thought the class was going to be dumb. But I was wrong.
They're pretty honest.
Yeah, no,
They're
they'll
honest.
tell you, yeah.
And this is with their names on it, so they're brutally honest, which is, you know, what we want. You
Me
know,
too.
so they've created a safe environment. Our instructors have created a safe environment for the students to be honest with it. And we want them to be honest.
And I guess our goal of this presentation is to help people understand what we do at CSS. And while a lot of professors here, like, oh, college student success, we don't need it, it sounds kind of dumb, or why do we add to an already overflowing curriculum? Well, because it works.
Yeah, because
I'll
it
be a
works.
student.
That's the whole thing, like, it works. We didn't just decide to run this course and create it because, you know, Professor Smith thought, hey, this is a good idea, let's just do it. But this is research-based. This is stuff that's working at many colleges. Just nearby, the CUNY school systems right now are running some real excellent work with their college success courses. They're actually being researched by the Community College Research Center at Columbia. I mean, Bronx Community College is doing it currently. They just pulled a study on their college success course. LaGuardia has done it beautifully. They've done it in it. So a lot of colleges are implementing these courses, and not only as a course, but they're actually doing it as an entire first year experience. So they're actually taking these courses and they're even putting them next to like a psychology course, or they're sort of doing the co-courses. They're monitoring cohorts. They're putting these students through a variety of different activities within the college success courses. So it really is a very, very strong tool that they try to incorporate in an entire first year student experience. But for the schools that may not have the resources to run an entire department for a first year experience per se, the course itself really does a lot of the legwork for it. So, you know, and we hope that you found it informative, and yeah, questions? Yes.
Do you want me to go through it really quick?
Oh yeah, yeah. Would you like to see some pieces of it?
Just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are master course shells. So again, it's like Brian said, we have, the objectives are there for you. The faculty members have to meet the objectives, but how they teach it is really up to them. We do have readily created PowerPoints. Again, some people use it, others don't. It really depends on the comfort level. So we do, so when the students go in, they're gonna see this. So it's very, it's a simple course copy, and it's consistent. So this is their welcome, their start here page, and you can see there's some expectation here. You'll see that we say you're expected to spend about 6 hours on this course. Again, this is a 2-credit course. So this is with, you know, it's one credit hour equals 3 hours of work. So that's how we're thinking. We will have the faculty members write their own etiquette or e-etiquette. So what are your expectations for students while they're online? And then here is what we call the navigation menu. So essentially it describes to students, okay, how are you using each of these links? Because everyone uses it differently. So then we have the instructor contact information. The faculty members will put theirs here. And then we have this help desk. We also have the distance learning office in there. This notification announcements. We won't see here but we have templates for syllabus and also their assignment expectations. It's hidden right now for the students because we want the faculty member just to have access to that, fix it, you know, customize it however they want to do that.
Now this class is it's pass-fail. Because we're not giving, it's not like test-based. I don't care if you memorize, you know, learning hierarchy structures, but it's good if you think about it. So it's more of a checklist of assignments. If you do all the assignments, show up on time, and put actual work into it, there you go, you pass, not a problem. We want students to have the freedom and not the pressure to think about what they're doing.
Yeah, so here are the templates that we're talking. So we have the syllabus template. Assignment expectations is a very thorough document that specifically spells out exactly what their assignments are to be. You know, so if they're doing discussions, sometimes faculty will say, well, we need you to cite where you're getting this information from, as opposed to just kind of saying your opinions. So anyway, it's much more complicated on the faculty menu, but now on the student menu, this is the modules. So they have a pre-course survey, then you have the week 1, then we also kind of spell out first class face-to-face, second computer room. So this is your specific lab practice. So here we have discussions for them to practice, journals for them. So it's pretty specific, and then we try to make it as specific as possible, as easy for them as possible. Here is the online readiness assessment. Then we have just additional information for them. Okay, so these are just different skills websites to test taking, all the different pieces. We do have a group workspace, and they sign up. Okay, so and they just go in, they sign up, and then it's for their end of year presentation for this. And then we have a student support services. These are all the student support services that we have for them. And then we also have the statement, the college statement for ABA policy. And that's how so that's a sample of the course. Okay.
Yes, Keith.
We know this works. We know it improves retention. We know that students do better and graduate. How would you like to see this evolve?
Actually, really quick, when we were at College Council, I think in March, the president of the SGA actually had made a recommendation or had shared with us that they would like to recommend this course to be required course.
Yeah.
That's from the students' point of view.
Yes.
On the SEM, the strategic enrollment management, under retention, I led the retention group. It's also strongly recommended that it be required for all students. Right now, it's only required for
For
students
sim
in the
groups.
liberal arts division who test into English 025.
In nursing, we're so challenged, I mean, and Brian can attest to that. We are so challenged, they come in, they don't know how to study, and they've gone through all their prerequisites, so it's not like they're new to the
Yes.
campus. We are incredibly challenged with the nursing students. You know, like you said, they don't know how to academically read. They go from memorization to critical thinking. And we are really challenged with it, in nursing particularly, because
And those students are the best of the group, because the students that make it into that program
Yeah.
are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
but when they come to us, they have no organization, they have no prioritization, they have no idea how to come prepared for class, and then they wonder why they're failing.
I know, and I'm telling you, like, you can go to the Mendham School District, where you would think that these students are getting better strategies, and then you can go to your other school and everything in between, you know, and it's a common problem, like, for, in just in the upper, like, of the wealth spectrum to your lower income students. Obviously, with the lower income student population, you're dealing with a heck of other social issues that's a whole separate presentation.
What is,
Yes.
If we were to have reduced the number of students that leave in their first year here by 10%, we got 40% that are excellent. If we just reduce that to 30%, we would
That's right.
not have had a reduction in force at this college.
That's
what are
right.
the barriers
Well,
though?
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say.
What are the barriers?
Yeah, I mean, to follow up on what Keith just said,
Well-
moving forward,
Yes.
what are the?
Well, why, I don't know how
Can you
you,
pull up?
I think it should be, why not make it free? Or if you're gonna make everybody do it, students are gonna play, well, I don't need it, I had a 4.0 in high school, make it free, or refund them the fee for it when they graduate. You know, you can't really I think it'd be difficult to force everyone to pay for a course you're saying they need when they know
Yeah,
intrinsically
but
that they don't need the
my
course.
kids are in 4-year colleges now, and they required to take first
They're
year
required.
seminars. They're
Rutgers
required.
has a
Part of their-
6 credit,
Everybody,
full
I mean,
year.
Yeah,
everybody requires it. I was required to take one at William Patterson when I was an undergrad. If not, I couldn't
and
graduate.
it's not even a
so.
thought.
No.
Freshman seminar.
Yeah, freshman seminar. So it's like University 101, college success course. I mean, there's all different iterations of it. It becomes part of the fabric of the institution. And that's the part of it that I think we still are working on here at CCM, because the course is still, you know, being taught in particular different, you know, some groups of students. So I think one of you asked, what are the barriers, right? So the barriers are that there are areas of the college that not necessarily want this course. I mean, that they don't think this course may be able to fit in certain curriculums, that some students should take it versus others that shouldn't. So there's a lot of questions about the course, when in reality, the numbers are sort of showing us something different. And you know, I said this to someone once, data shall set you free, okay? I mean, how much more can we really paint it to somebody that to say that a course is actually doing what it's meant to do? I mean, I always think about the question like, wouldn't you appreciate if you walked into a classroom with, not all of them, because you're always gonna have students that are never gonna be fully prepared, but that a good darn majority of them actually understand when you're telling them like, read your syllabus. Okay, yeah,
But,
I
you
know.
know,
And the
nursing
trouble with
is-
letting the student determine whether they should take this course or not,
Right.
is they all say it's stupid, they don't
Yes.
do it.
Right.
That's right.
I don't
And
need it.
unfortunately, we
Yeah,
have
yes.
I don't
faculty,
need it.
department chairs who say the same thing.
Right.
This is stupid, I don't need it. Our students don't need that.
Oh,
This was a
But
actually
then
a
they're losing
discussion.
40% of
Yeah.
the students.
Right.
This was a discussion before,
they're asking about credit.
right in the
Oh,
beginning with the non-credit to credit. Keith was actually involved in the conversation. We
Yeah, he
actually
knows
had
about
to keep it as non-credit because it was not gonna go if we had asked it to be
There's
credit.
a 66 credit limit for an AA degree, and if you go above that, that credit doesn't transfer. Now, these credits don't transfer anyway.
Right.
So making it a non-credit seemed like the way to go.
We were gonna talk about barriers. We would have hit quite a bit
Yes.
of barriers if we had not
Yeah.
asked it to be non-credit at this
Can
point.
I just interject, in nursing, we have, they have to do two health ed credits. One is CPR. Why can't we make this one credit instead of the health and wellness? Make this, because what happens, nursing is so high stakes, so you do all this
Sure.
prereq, you get that coveted spot, and then you bomb in the first or second semester.
Yeah,
Where do
that's
they go after that?
Yeah,
There's nowhere
they
to go
don't,
after
no.
you've completed. You have to wait till you get that letter of reinstatement.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
yeah, last
I
year
just
we
want to
took-
point out something that,
They come to visit me.
CSS is an ever-evolving course.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
every
It's a life
single
course.
year, we completely, I
Has to
got
change.
this thing, that's my summer.
Yep.
2 years, new textbook, right? I am on top of this. So every time it changes, it will change. If it becomes fully implemented for the whole school, it will change highly to meet the exact needs. Right now, it's meeting the needs of the students we have. Every time it changes, if a new division or department wants to make it required, we will adapt and adjust.
We also, I know we didn't mention this, but students from Project Success is also, they're required, or
Yeah.
highly
I believe
required,
so,
they're
yeah.
required to take this
Yeah.
course. And I know Betty has shared some stories with us.
Students on probation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and she has shared some really just, fun stories for us. She had I remember, right in the beginning, she had a student athlete who was in danger of failing. And he took this class and she happened to run into him in the student center. He's reading this philosophy book, and he said it changed my life. And he was, he was on probation. He was not gonna be able to play on the team.
Yeah.
So it's.
And the students really make some good connections with their professors.
Yeah.
But they really do, because some of the, I remember one student's like, I really like my professor. I remember this in the interview. He kept on saying it over and over. He was just like a nice guy. And the student was just very forward, and he was just talking to me, and he's like, I bumped into him in the hallway, and we were like talking. And that's how he was talking to me. We were like talking, and I'm like, well, that's good, isn't it? So it's funny, but we hope that you found value in the information. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free. Yes.
I have just a comment, observation. Grammar school and high school teachers are required to take classes just to upgrade information.
Yeah.
Perhaps you can offer this course to them so that we're not getting all these students with so many deficiencies. That might be
I
something
interface-
that they would love.
I'm interfacing with a lot of high school guidance counselors. They just come and get me because my name's on the thing. Going into high school curriculums, you immediately run into state and federal guidelines, and they've got their own issues dealing with
Not
parking.
so much the
comfort.
curriculum as the teacher as an individual. They
Like
take the
professional
class.
development.
Right.
Okay, I
And
was a
then
high
they
school
go into
teacher.
their classroom
Okay.
and they have this in their brains, like, wow, I really need to do
I'll
some of
speak to-
these things.
I'll speak to that a little bit. I used to be, my other life was, I was a high school teacher. A big part of it is we do, most of us will talk about, research skills, we will do test taking, so it is being mentioned. However, huge difference is as much as we try not to handhold by the time they're junior or seniors, there's still a lot of handholding. So by the time they come to, so imagine, so just that summer, we're done. You're all on your own. So a lot of it, I think, is that. It's not like they don't necessarily have been exposed to it. They may have been exposed to it, it's just never been explicit to them either. So I think there's definitely a big disconnect from just that summer. They graduate and then to come to college. Most of the high schools, we don't do syllabus. That's one of the biggest things. It's a syllabus. It's like, how do you even dissect a syllabus? So we have all this, because the syllabus is for a whole semester. Most high schools won't do that. I think a lot of AP classes will do that, but majority of the courses aren't done like that. So I think there's just a lot of disconnect, and on just the way the courses are taught, expectations, of the teachers themselves, along with the students. So I think a big part is just that whole independence. That first semester is so critical, because they're on their own. We try to tell them your teachers are not your professors are not going to remind you have a paper due, you have a test come up, you have to study. it's not quite the same, you know, it just isn't.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
you.